Most men today think they're in control because they can choose what to do. But the truth, they only choose between distractions. You scroll, you overthink, you plan, but none of it's real movement. It's a simulation of progress. You've mistaken activity for control. Control isn't about having options. It's about eliminating the weak ones. And right now, you've surrounded yourself with things designed to keep you docile. Pleasure, validation, comfort, noise. They tell you it's freedom. It's not. It's submission disguised as choice. When was the last time you made a decision without checking your phone first? When was the last time you acted without seeking permission, approval, or proof? You don't realize how deeply programmed you are. Every swipe, every scroll, every like is a leash. A leash you mistake for connection. A leash you even defend. You've been tricked into believing control means managing your chaos. It doesn't. It means destroying it. And until you do, you'll keep waking up tired, scrolling through other people's lives and calling it motivation. So today I'm not here to tell you how to feel better. I'm here to make you uncomfortable. Because control doesn't return through comfort. It returns through confrontation. And if you're brave enough to stay till the end, you'll learn that what you lost wasn't control. It was command. 1. You don't lack time. You waste it on distractions that own you. You keep saying, I don't have time. But look closer. It's not time you lack. It's attention. Time has always been equal. 24 hours. No more, no less. But attention? That's what separates the strong from the scattered. And right now, your attention doesn't belong to you. It's been hijacked by the algorithms, the noise, the dopamine cycle that feeds on your weakness. Think about it. You wake up, and before your feet even hit the floor, you're in someone else's world. Messages, notifications, updates, drama. Your mind is already reacting, not deciding. That's not life. That's servitude. Every distraction you entertain doesn't just steal your time. It reprograms your identity. You become what you repeatedly give attention to. And most men today, they've become spectators of other people's success stories while there's gathered dust. When was the last time you went a whole morning without touching your phone? When was the last time you sat in silence and let your thoughts sharpen instead of scrolling through noise that dulls them? You say you want control, but you can't even control your thumb. Here's the harsh truth. You don't manage your distractions. They manage you. And the scariest part? You've started to depend on them. The comfort, the validation, the tiny dopamine hits. They've become your emotional pacifier. You can't sit still anymore. You can't focus. You can't be alone with your thoughts without feeling anxious. That's not normal. That's withdrawal. Withdrawal from digital dependence. You've been trained to chase stimulation the same way lab rats chase pellets. The difference? They know they're in a cage. You don't, and this is where control begins, not with a productivity app, not with a morning routine, but with war. A personal war against the invisible addiction that runs your life. If you truly want control, start by doing something most men will never have the courage to do. Go dark for 24 hours. No phone, no noise, no comfort. You'll see how desperate your mind becomes when it's starved of distractions. You'll see how much control you don't have. And that realization, that uncomfortable confrontation with your own dependence, is the first step to reclaiming command. Because here's the truth. Control isn't about adding more discipline. It's about removing the things that destroy it. You can't out-discipline an environment built to distract you. You must destroy the environment. Stop following everyone who doesn't build you. Stop responding to everything that doesn't serve you. Stop mistaking noise for movement. Your time is the most expensive currency you'll ever own, and every scroll, every useless argument online, every second spent watching people who don't even know your name is you making someone else rich while you stay broke in purpose. Most men think control means working harder. It doesn't. It means working smarter on yourself. The battle isn't against the world. It's against the part of you that keeps giving the world your focus for free. You're not tired. You're overstimulated. You're not lost. You're distracted. And the reason you can't move forward isn't because the path is blocked. It's because your eyes are glued to everything but the path. Every time you say, "I'll do it later," understand, later is the graveyard where potential dies. You keep postponing your evolution because distractions make the present feel comfortable. But comfort is the drug that kills control. So here's your turning point. Every time you feel that urge to reach for your phone, ask yourself, who benefits if I do this? Because it's never you. The platforms, the influencers, the endless stream of content, they all feed on your focus. They've turned your attention into their profit. And until you decide to starve that system, you'll remain a slave to the rhythm of distraction. You want your life back? Then take your attention back. Cut the noise. Reclaim your mornings. Master your focus. Because once you control where your attention goes, you control where your life goes. And that, my friend, is how you begin to regain command. 2. Your comfort is the silent killer of every goal you've ever had. Comfort feels harmless. That's why it's so dangerous. It doesn't attack you head on. It slowly drains your hunger while convincing you that you're fine. But fine is the word men use when they've stopped growing. Look around you. Every man stuck in mediocrity isn't there because he failed once. He's there because he chose comfort one too many times. He hit snooze instead of standing up. He stayed silent instead of speaking truth. He scrolled instead of studying. And now he calls it taking it easy, but what's easy always costs you later. Comfort is deceptive. It gives you small relief now in exchange for massive regret later. And most men are too afraid to admit that their life isn't stuck. It's just too comfortable to change. Comfort is the soft pillow that suffocates your ambition. It's the warm bed that whispers, "You've done enough today." It's the slow death that feels like rest. And that's why most men never build empires, because comfort has turned them into spectators of the few who still hunger for discomfort. When was the last time you did something that genuinely scared you? When was the last time you faced rejection, humiliation, or pain and didn't run from it? That's the difference between men who grow and men who coast. Growth is not built in comfort. Growth is born in discomfort, in that moment where your mind screams, "Stop," and you keep going. You think success feels good? It doesn't. It burns. It's long nights, heavy doubt, isolation, and self-confrontation. But comfort has tricked you into chasing feel good over get better. The men who win in this world aren't necessarily smarter. They're just willing to suffer longer. They see pain as tuition. You see it as punishment. And that difference defines everything. Every goal you've ever failed to reach can be traced back to one decision. The decision to choose comfort instead of growth. You knew what to do. You just didn't feel like doing it. And every time you obey that feeling, you weaken your will. Comfort kills urgency. It tricks your brain into believing you have time. But time is ruthless. It doesn't care about your comfort. It only rewards movement. Look, you don't have to destroy yourself to evolve, but you do have to stop protecting your comfort like it's sacred. Because it's not sacred, it's the silent enemy. You think you're resting, but what you're really doing is rotting. Every day you stay in your comfort zone, a part of you dies quietly. Your ambition fades. Your focus dulls. Your energy disappears. And one day you wake up realizing you've built a life that looks safe but feels empty. Comfort will tell you, you've earned this, but discomfort whispers you can be more. And the truth is, the second whisper is always right. When was the last time you earned your exhaustion? When was the last time your body ached from discipline, not laziness? There's a different kind of peace that comes from struggle. The peace of knowing you earned your rest instead of escaping into it. Most men today want results without resistance. They want the physique without the pain, the money without the risk, the power without the pressure. But life doesn't reward comfort. It rewards endurance. If you want control back, stop trying to make your life easier. Start making yourself harder to break. Learn to crave the discomfort, the early mornings, the long hours, the silence. That's where real strength is built, not in the comfort, but in the resistance. Comfort is the reason men feel lost. Because when everything feels good enough, the soul has nothing to chase. And a man without something to chase will always feel empty, even if his life looks full. So ask yourself right now, when did you stop challenging yourself? When did you start confusing peace with paralysis? You say you want control, but control doesn't come from ease. It comes from effort. And effort only thrives in discomfort. You don't need another motivational quote. You need a confrontation with your own softness. You need to look at the areas of your life where you've been choosing easy and make them hard again. Because comfort has never built a warrior. It builds watchers, men who clap for others while wondering why nothing changes for them. So here's your truth. Until you get uncomfortable again, you'll stay exactly where you are. The man you want to become is waiting, but he doesn't live where it's comfortable. He lives where it hurts, and only the brave walk there. 3. You let everyone have access to you. That's why you feel drained. You wonder why you're exhausted all the time. But it's not work that's draining you. It's access. Too many people have it. Too many opinions, too many demands, too many invisible hands pulling at your focus, your peace, your energy. You've become available to everyone, and in doing so, unavailable to yourself. Most men today don't realize how expensive their attention really is. Every call you answer out of guilt, every meaningless chat you entertain, every favor you agree to just to keep the peace, it all costs you something. And the price, your energy. You can't control your life when you can't even control who gets your time. You've turned your mental gates into revolving doors, letting anyone walk in and rearrange your focus. That's why you feel lost, because you've allowed people who don't even respect their own time to waste yours. When was the last time you said no without apologizing for it? When was the last time you ignored a message without feeling guilty? If you can't remember, that's the problem. You've been trained to equate availability with kindness. But availability is not kindness. It's weakness when given to everyone. And the truth is, most people don't value your yes. They've just gotten used to it. You want to know why you can't think clearly anymore? Because your mind is overcrowded. You've filled it with conversations that go nowhere, opinions that don't matter, and people who drain you faster than they feed you. A man who wants control must learn to be selective. Selective with his time, selective with his circle, selective with his energy. Not out of arrogance, but out of awareness. You can't build something great while being emotionally accessible to everyone. You can't protect your purpose if you let everyone touch it. There's a reason kings live in castles, not because they're better than others, but because boundaries protect power. And right now, your boundaries are weak. Every time someone texts, you reply immediately. Every time someone calls, you answer. Every time someone asks, you comply. And little by little, your peace erodes. Here's the truth. You don't owe everyone access. Not everyone deserves to know how you feel. Not everyone deserves to hear your plans. Not everyone deserves your energy just because they want it. You're not cold for setting boundaries. You're wise for guarding your energy. Ask yourself, when was the last time you were fully alone? Not lonely, but alone, with no noise, no expectations, no interruptions. Because that's where clarity lives. And clarity is the foundation of control. You can't lead your life when your energy is scattered across 100 meaningless interactions. You can't master your day when your focus is hijacked by constant notifications. You say you want peace, but you keep inviting chaos to text you. You say you want focus, but you keep replying to distractions. Start filtering access like your peace depends on it, because it does. Stop being afraid to disappoint people who have no problem draining you. Stop explaining your boundaries. Enforce them. You'll notice something powerful. When you pull your energy back, people start revealing who they really are. Those who respect your growth will give you space. Those who depended on your weakness will guilt you for it. And that's how you know who stays and who goes. The truth is, men lose control when they start living reactively, constantly responding, constantly explaining, constantly adjusting. But power returns when you stop reacting and start choosing. Control isn't about being busy, it's about being intentional. It's knowing that your attention is sacred, your peace is precious, and your time is non-refundable. So from this day forward, guard yourself like a fortress. Let people earn access through respect, not convenience. Because every yes you give is a piece of your energy, and you don't have unlimited supply. You're not supposed to be accessible to everyone. You're supposed to be focused on your mission. Because when a man is available to everyone, he belongs to no one, not even himself. But when he reclaims his energy, his boundaries, and his focus, the world starts to orbit him. And that's the kind of control no one can take away. 4. You call it anxiety, but it's just a life without discipline. Every man says he's anxious, overthinking, restless, drained. But let's be honest, it's not anxiety. It's chaos. You've built a life with no structure, no order, no rules, and now you're drowning in the consequences. You wake up late, you eat garbage, you scroll aimlessly. You have no plan, no rhythm, no standard, and yet you wonder why your mind feels like it's spinning in circles. That's not a mental disorder. That's the side effect of a man who's lost control. You weren't built for comfort and randomness. You were built for direction, for structure, for war. A man without discipline will always feel anxious, because his instincts know he's off his path. Deep down, your soul craves order. It wants to wake up with purpose, to move with intention, to know what the next step is. But when every day looks the same, a loop of indulgence and avoidance, your mind revolts. It starts screaming through anxiety, trying to wake you up. You say, "I can't stop overthinking." No, you just don't do enough to silence the noise. You think too much because you act too little. The cure for overthinking isn't therapy, it's action. Move, create, build, because a busy mind with no direction becomes its own prison. Men today confuse peace with laziness. You think staying home, binging shows, and avoiding pressure will calm you down, but it only feeds the beast. Peace doesn't come from avoiding responsibility. It comes from mastering it. You want your anxiety to fade? Then earn your peace. Wake up early, train your body, set routines, keep promises to yourself. Because when a man builds discipline, his mind finally trusts him again. Right now, your mind doesn't trust you. You keep saying, "Tomorrow I'll change," and then you don't. You keep making promises and breaking them. And every broken promise tells your subconscious, he's weak, he's unreliable. He doesn't mean what he says. And how can you feel calm when the person leading you can't be trusted? Discipline is not about restriction. It's about freedom. When your days have order, your thoughts fall in line. When your actions are deliberate, your emotions stop controlling you. But modern men have been taught the opposite, that structure is oppression, that rules are toxic, that self-love means doing whatever feels good. No, that's not love, that's self-sabotage dressed in comfort. You don't need more comfort, you need more control. And control starts with discipline, with the simple act of doing what you said you would do even when you don't feel like it. When you skip the gym, your anxiety doesn't go away, it grows. When you delay your goals, your anxiety doesn't rest, it festers. Because deep down, you know you're betraying yourself. You're not tired, you're undisciplined. You're not depressed, you're disconnected from responsibility. You're not overwhelmed, you're undercommitted to your own growth. Men were designed for pressure. The weight of goals, routines, missions, that's what keeps you sane. Without that weight, your mind turns against you. That's why the most peaceful men are usually the most disciplined. They don't wake up feeling good. They wake up with duty. They don't wait for motivation. They rely on momentum. They don't chase calm, they build it. And the irony? The more disciplined your life becomes, the freer you feel. Because now you don't wake up lost. You don't go to bed guilty. You trust yourself. You've replaced chaos with control. So stop calling it anxiety when it's really neglect. Stop labeling your lack of structure as a mental block. The truth is simple. Your mind is begging for you to take charge. Every time you hit snooze, Every time you skip what matters, every time you run from challenge, your anxiety grows louder. It's not punishing you. It's trying to guide you. That pit in your stomach, that restlessness, that unease, that's your inner voice saying you're living below your potential. And that feeling won't go away until you listen. So build your discipline back. One habit, one morning, one promise at a time. Wake up early, move your body, eat clean, control what you can, and watch what happens to your mind. Because once a man starts living with order, anxiety has nowhere left to live. 5. Your friends keep you weak because they fear your growth. Most men think loyalty means never outgrowing their friends. That's the first mistake, because sometimes the people closest to you aren't cheering for you. They're chaining you. Not because they hate you, but because your growth reminds them of everything they're avoiding. Listen closely. Your friends don't have to betray you to hold you back. They just have to keep you comfortable. Think about it. How often do you tone yourself down so you don't make them insecure? How often do you hide your ambition, your discipline, your progress, just to avoid hearing, "Oh, you've changed"? That's the trap. They want you to stay the same because it validates their stagnation. If you grow, it exposes their excuses. They'll never say it out loud, but your improvement threatens their identity. Because the moment you start to evolve, they have to face the mirror. And most men would rather drag you back down than look at their reflection. They'll joke about your routines, mock your discipline, downplay your goals. They'll call it balance, chilling, or having fun. But let's be honest, that's not friendship. That's camouflage for fear. Real friends push you toward discomfort. Fake friends protect you from growth. And if you're surrounded by men who make you feel guilty for wanting more, you're not in a brotherhood, you're in a cage. Here's the truth most men can't handle. Not everyone you start with deserves to finish with you. Some people are only meant for the version of you that plays small. They don't belong in the chapter where you rise. It's not personal, it's evolution. You can't drag everyone with you. Some people need to stay behind, not because you hate them, but because they refuse to move. The men who lose their fire are the ones too loyal to their comfort circle. They confuse friendship with obligation, but obligation kills ambition faster than failure ever could. If your circle doesn't challenge you, it's not a circle. It's a coffin. And here's what's worse. You might think you're being humble by staying the same. You might think you're being real by keeping old habits alive. But what you're actually being is weak. You're scared of being alone. You're scared of judgment. You're scared of what happens when the only validation you know disappears. But understand this, every man who becomes great walks through that loneliness. It's the initiation every strong man faces, the silence between who he was and who he's becoming. You can't evolve surrounded by people who profit from your stagnation. They'll never tell you this, but they need you to stay the same, because if you grow, they lose the excuse not to. Watch how they react when you start changing your habits, when you stop wasting weekends, when you start saying no, when you start choosing purpose over pleasure. That's when you'll see who's for you and who's against your growth. They'll laugh at you at first, then they'll question you, then they'll envy you, and finally they'll respect you. But that cycle only starts when you have the courage to separate. You can't save them by staying small. You can only inspire them by becoming more. And sometimes distance is the most powerful form of leadership. Here's what you need to remember. Your future doesn't need everyone from your past. Let them call you selfish. Let them call you distant. Because in the end, they'll call you something else, free. Control isn't just about managing your time or habits. It's about managing your environment, including the people in it. So ask yourself right now, are your friends fueling your purpose or feeding your weakness? Do they clap when you grow, or do they pull you back when you rise? A real brotherhood doesn't get jealous when you change. It challenges you to go further. It reminds you who you are when you forget. It holds you accountable to your potential. If your circle doesn't make you uncomfortable, find one that does. Because growth requires pressure, and pressure reveals who's real. The truth is, most men don't lose their potential. They just bury it under the weight of fitting in. So stop trying to be understood by men who've already quit on themselves. Let them go. Walk alone if you have to. Because the man who walks alone walks in control. And the one who stays with the wrong crowd, he never walks at all. 6. You chase pleasure because you've forgotten the power of pain. Every weak man in this generation is addicted, not to substances, but to comfort. Pleasure runs their life. Dopamine is their god. The modern man no longer hunts lions or builds empires. He scrolls, eats, and escapes. He's got everything his ancestors prayed for, yet he's miserable, anxious, and lost. Why? Because he's forgotten the one thing that made men, the power of pain. Pain is the forge of all greatness. It's where strength is born, focus is sharpened, and purpose is found. But today's man runs from it like it's a curse. He feels discomfort and calls it depression. He faces challenge and calls it burnout. He loses once and calls it failure. We've built a generation of soft warriors, men who want results without the war. You say you want discipline, but you still chase the easy way out. You say you want purpose, but you spend hours chasing pleasure that kills your drive. You scroll instead of build. You binge instead of fight. You numb instead of feel. You don't realize pleasure is the drug that keeps you powerless. It's disguised as comfort, entertainment, self-care, but it's really control. Every time you choose pleasure over progress, you're selling a piece of your potential. Every click, every scroll, every just one more episode, you're being trained to be weaker. The world profits off your addiction to comfort. The more entertained you are, the less dangerous you become. Think about that. A man who can't handle boredom is easy to control. A man who can't sit in silence will never hear his own thoughts. A man who fears discomfort will never reach power. That's why pain is sacred. It's not your enemy. It's your compass. When life hurts, it's showing you where you need to grow. When your mind resists, it's revealing where you've gone soft. When you suffer, you're being sculpted into something sharper. But you've been taught to avoid it, to seek pleasure the moment discomfort appears, to run from pain instead of embracing it. That's why you feel lost. You've forgotten that pain is the proof you're alive. Ask any man who built something real. Pain was his teacher. He learned more from struggle than from comfort. Because comfort doesn't build character, it dissolves it. When you avoid pain, you avoid growth. When you numb discomfort, you numb discipline. When you chase pleasure, you chase weakness. Men who dominate their lives don't run from pain. they use it. They understand that suffering has direction. They know that pain, when faced with courage, transforms into power. Pain teaches you patience. It teaches you control. It strips away ego and forces you to face truth. That's what the world has stolen from men, the sacred relationship with pain. Now you're told to heal, relax, take it easy. But ease is the enemy. No warrior grows on a soft bed. No leader rises from comfort. No empire is built without endurance. The man who controls his life is the man who controls his pain. He doesn't let it break him. He bends it into discipline. When you hit the gym and your muscles burn, that's pain turning to progress. When you wake up early and your body resists, that's pain turning to control. When you face rejection and still move forward, that's pain turning to power. Pain is the universe's way of asking, do you really want it? The weak man says, no, it hurts. The strong man says, yes, and I'll grow through it. Every man has pain, but not every man uses it. Some hide from it with distractions, others turn it into drive. Which one are you becoming? You've been told to chase happiness, but that's the biggest lie of all. Because happiness is not found in comfort, it's earned through struggle. You'll never feel peace until you face the pain you keep avoiding. You'll never find control until you stop running from the things that hurt. So stop numbing your soul with endless pleasure. Stop silencing your hunger with fake rewards. Stop chasing the illusion of comfort when discomfort is what builds kings. It's time to rewire your mind to see pain as privilege, to lean into it when every instinct tells you to run. Because every moment you endure what others avoid, you gain power they'll never touch. That's how you gain back control of your life, not by avoiding pain, but by mastering it. Because when you master pain, pleasure loses its grip. And when pleasure no longer controls you, nothing does. 7. You don't need motivation. You need consequences. Every man waits for motivation, like it's some divine spark that'll save him from his own laziness. He scrolls through videos looking for that one quote, that one speech, that one dopamine hit to finally get started. But motivation was never the problem. Your problem is the absence of consequences. You don't move because nothing forces you to. You've built a life so safe, so padded, that failure doesn't even hurt anymore. You can waste days, weeks, entire months, and nothing happens. No one fires you. No one shamas you. No one holds you accountable. And that's why you're soft. Because men only move when pain demands it. Without stakes, you'll stay exactly where you are, scrolling, wishing, pretending you'll start tomorrow. Motivation is a spark. Consequences are fire. And fire is what forges you into something unstoppable. Think about it. The times you've truly changed weren't because you felt inspired. It was because you had to. You hit rock bottom. You were cornered. You had no choice. You stopped eating junk when your health scared you. You got disciplined when you saw your potential rotting. You started working when life forced you to take responsibility. Pressure creates performance. Comfort kills it. You think you're waiting for the right mindset, but you're really waiting for life to punish you enough to change. And that's dangerous, because life will punish the man who refuses to act. Every lazy decision compounds into a consequence you'll face years later. Every excuse today becomes regret tomorrow. Every "I'll do it later" becomes "I wish I started earlier." you don't need more inspiration, you need fear. Not fear of failure, but fear of staying the same. Because once that fear hits your bones, you'll stop negotiating with weakness. You'll stop playing games with your potential. You'll stop asking for motivation and start building momentum. Ask yourself, what would happen if you kept living like this for another 5 years? Same habits, same distractions, same excuses. Would you be proud of that version of you? Would he respect you or despise you for wasting his future? That question should haunt you, because it's not just hypothetical, it's a mirror. Every man has to look at his reflection and realize the cost of inaction is everything. You think comfort is free, but it's the most expensive thing you'll ever buy. It costs you ambition. It costs you confidence. It costs you time you'll never get back. Motivation is easy to chase. You can get it from music, movies, quotes. But consequences are what make change permanent. When you make your goals matter enough to hurt when you fail, that's when things shift. Miss a workout? Double it the next day. Break your promise? Lose something for it. Sleep in? Delete the distraction that made you weak. You have to build a system where your laziness has a price. Because when pain and progress are tied together, the brain learns discipline. That's how soldiers train. That's how entrepreneurs rise. That's how kings are made, through accountability to their own consequences. You don't need a motivational playlist. You need a reminder that time is bleeding away. Every sunrise is one less you'll ever see. Every excuse is a debt your future self will have to pay. If you don't set consequences for your weakness, life will. And life's punishment is far harsher than your own. So stop waiting for inspiration. Engineer your pain. Make failure costly. Make discipline rewarding. That's how you rewire your brain for dominance. Because motivation fades, but fear of wasting your potential, that's eternal fuel. You gain control of your life the moment you stop asking, how can I stay motivated? And start asking, what happens if I don't? And if that question doesn't terrify you, you haven't woken up yet. 8. Control doesn't start in your schedule. It starts in your mind. Most men think control means organization, planners, routines, productivity hacks, waking up at 5 a.m. But let me tell you something brutal. You can't schedule your way out of chaos if your mind is still undisciplined. You can fill your calendar with goals and plans, but if your thoughts run wild, you're still a slave. Control doesn't begin on paper. It begins in your head. You think your mind is your ally. It's not yet. Right now, it's a battlefield. And the enemy is winning because you never learned how to command it. You wake up and before your feet even touch the floor, your thoughts already start dictating the tone of your day. One small worry multiplies into 10. A single memory pulls you into distraction. And by the time you realize it, you've already lost the day before it even began. That's not bad luck. That's lack of mental control. Every man wants a controlled life, but few have a controlled mind. They want peace, but their thoughts are addicted to noise. They crave focus, but they entertain every impulse that crosses their mind. You scroll, you compare, you overthink, you react. That's not control. That's surrender. You've built habits that make you a servant to your own mind. Your emotions lead and your logic follows. You get angry, anxious, jealous, and then act on it. That's how most men destroy everything they're trying to build. Because the truth is simple. You can't control your life until you can control your reactions. Power doesn't come from order. It comes from awareness. The moment you can observe your thoughts instead of obeying them, you become untouchable. You start to realize you're not your thoughts. You're the one who commands them. You decide which ones live and which ones die. That's when control begins. Think about the strongest men, you know, calm under pressure, deliberate with their words, hard to provoke. That's not genetics. That's training. They built mental silence through discipline, through years of confronting their own noise. You run from silence. You fill every quiet moment with music, notifications, or conversations. You can't sit alone because your thoughts become too loud. But that's the very battle you've been avoiding, the one that decides your entire future. You want real control? Then master the space between stimulus and response. That split second where emotion tries to take over, that's your battlefield. That's where weak men crumble and strong men rise. Because the man who can pause, even for a moment, before reacting, can lead nations, command respect, and build empires, while the man who reacts instantly destroys his own progress. Your mind is a muscle. You've let it go soft. You've trained it to chase comfort, not clarity. To follow impulse, not intention. So start training it again. When you feel anger, breathe. When you feel doubt, observe it. When your thoughts start spiraling, command them to stop. That's not spiritual fluff. That's psychological warfare. And it's how men throughout history gained real power. By mastering the invisible battlefield within. You can't fix your life through productivity if your mindset is chaotic. You can't plan your day into greatness if your thoughts are undisciplined. Because control isn't built through routines. It's built through restraint. Restraint to think before acting. Restraint to stay silent when emotion screams. Restraint to endure discomfort without running from it. That's control. That's leadership. That's dominance. The man who conquers his mind conquers everything. The man who doesn't stays enslaved even inside a perfect schedule. So before you try another system or routine, ask yourself one question. Who's really running my life, me or my mind? Because until you learn to rule the kingdom within, you'll keep losing control of the one outside. And that's the quiet truth no one wants to admit. You don't need a new plan. You need a new level of mental sovereignty. That's where control begins. Not in your schedule, not in your habits, but in the unseen command center, your mind. And once you master that, nothing and no one can ever control you again. Most men want control, but they chase it in all the wrong places. They think it's in money, status, validation, but those are only symbols. Control starts where no one can see it. In your mind, your discipline, your standards. And the truth is, the world doesn't take control from you. You give it away. Every time you scroll instead of act, every time you chase comfort over challenge, every time you silence your instincts just to fit in, you think you're losing control of life, but what you've really lost is command. You've forgotten what it means to move with direction, to look at your day and say, "This is mine," to speak with conviction, not hesitation, to cut off distractions like they insult your destiny. Control isn't glamorous. It's not easy. It's war. And every day you either win or you surrender. So stop waiting for motivation. Stop waiting for peace. You gain control by embracing the struggle that every weak man avoids. Because control isn't something you find, it's something you fight for. Let this sink in. If your mind isn't under your command, everything else owns you. Your habits own you. Your emotions own you. The opinions of others own you. And that's how most men live enslaved, but too distracted to notice. But not you. You've seen the pattern now. You've seen what happens when you let comfort, fear, and distraction dictate your life. You've seen what it costs. And deep down, you know it's time to take it back. Because the man who reclaims control of his mind reclaims control of his future. And when that happens, everything else falls into line: money, relationships, peace, power. So here's the challenge. Look at your life tonight and find one area where you've lost command. Then take it back. Not tomorrow, not next week. Now, because control doesn't wait for the ready. It bows only to the relentless. And if this message hit you, if it exposed something inside you, I want you to comment below. Tell me where you've lost control, and I'll reach out. Not as a preacher, but as a brother in the same war. We rebuild together. We rise together. This is the start of your return to power. Join the movement. Comment your story. Subscribe to the channel. Because this is not just content, this is command. And only those who take control of their minds will ever control their world.